You're now watching The Wash Daily. Today in news, there's been a lot of talk of the cannabis plant being referenced in the Epstein files. A lot of people are saying that it says that the reason why they don't like cannabis is because it increases people's awareness and that is really messing up the mind control, which probably isn't not true, but there really doesn't seem to be, when you look into the files, any real reference of this. I'm not sure where this is coming from, but a lot of people are posting it. I think I've seen 100 of these posts. Sometimes there's someone on TikTok just saying, turns out the government found that the jazz cabbage is a problem because it makes people more aware. So not finding it anywhere. But you do find some things about cannabis, and Talking Joints Memo did a great job. Chris Farrar, he put out an article about specific instances of cannabis being mentioned in the Epstein files, and it has a lot to do with people looking for Epstein to finance their cannabis operations. But more importantly, there was also an instance of an underage girl who got, busted with cannabis, and she said she was going to Epstein's house and she was his best girl. And she'd been going there for a couple years, and she was only 18 at the time. And so it was probably more about the girl being underage than the cannabis in that instance. And the other ones seemed to be more about business proposals. Looks like Epstein wasn't too heavily into the cannabis legal market because he probably put his money into things that make money. Also news, Chris Cuomo was interviewing Mike Tyson some time ago, and it came out that Mike Tyson didn't smoke cannabis for a long time until he said at the funeral for Tupac, or some sort of memorial ceremony, and he thought that Tupac always wanted to smoke cannabis with Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson never did, but then he said at that time, that's when he started. After that, though, he didn't stop smoking cannabis. He said he stopped drinking alcohol, though. He blames alcohol for a large portion of his life that wasn't really lived well. He says that he lived like a horrible person and he was insane because of alcohol. And he says that since the use of cannabis, his life has significantly improved, and so has his mental and physical health. Also in news, a report came out that Generation Z isn't drinking nearly enough alcohol, and as a result, the liquor industry has lost $840 billion the past couple years. And it said that's bad, it's a big number, and they're gonna not survive it if people don't start drinking soon. A lot of people are saying it's because they're not smoking weed, but according to a report put out by Normal, I guess they did some studying on this, and they found out that Generation Z isn't smoking nearly as much weed as previous generations. It looks like this generation is actually choosing a very healthy lifestyle over being on drugs or alcohol, and it's definitely a good trend. People are trying to live more healthy, and probably is a result of people's parents smoking cannabis, and nobody wants to do the uncool things their parents are doing. The largest demographic of people who are picking up cannabis is the baby boomers. Not too many young people probably getting hot toddies either. Thanks for watching The Wash Daily.
Thank you for watching The Wash Daily.
The Wash Daily is viewer-supported and a voluntarist effort to help combat disinformation about cannabis.
Please like and subscribe. Mike T's son bought a glass ducky from the folks at Chronic Glass, so did Kanina Bree in Chronic Glass.